All right.
Hey.
Welcome back to Basement Movie Room. As you know, last week you got quick reviews of about 8 films that I watched, so I did quick reviews on them. But this week we're back with 2021's 1984's New York Ninja. That's very confusing. And I'll explain this, why it's confusing. Because Vinegar Syndrome, my new favorite DVD/Blu-ray releasing company, released a movie called New York Ninja. The movie was shot in 1984, rediscovered probably last year by Vinegar Syndrome, who is a cult film releasing. We watched Resurrection and Champagne and Bullets, 2 of which they've released. I've got a few more from them as well. Mm-hmm. So New York Ninja was shot in 1984 in New York. All of it's shot on location as far as we could see. I'm looking here and the 2 towers are all over this movie. Originally directed by John Liu. Now there was a redirection of it and a re-editing of it because they found these film canisters with no sound. So the movie is essentially a lost film from the 80s, which is a shame because it's actually pretty good, ultimately. It's not bad at all. Yeah. So they re-recorded all the dialogue through ADR. Don the Dragon Wilson came in to re-record dialogue for John Liu. I don't know if John Liu's dead or maybe they just couldn't get him to do it. I don't know. But John Liu was a 80s Taekwondo guy, apparently, from what I was reading. So New York Ninja follows a pretty scarce plot, to be honest, but it's a fun plot. This is a cult film through and through. John Liu is married to a woman who is pregnant. We find out at the very first of the film. He meets with her and she goes off. They separate. She goes off and she's murdered. So he decides to become the New York Ninja from there and begins to fight crime in New York. All the crime in New York is very, very odd. It's almost, if you've seen The Warriors, it's somewhat like The Warriors, except these guys' costumes are way worse.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
It's a Warriors type deal, but it's funny because I think we figured out about through the 3rd time he fights these guys, it's just all the same guys wearing different costumes.
Switching costumes.
Different costumes. They've got these face masks that are like clear face mask and
even Bruno Mars.
Yeah, you got you got a whole other gang that killed his wife.
Yeah.
It's got it's funny because we kept seeing like rock and roll / Bruno Mars figures. The main bad guy looks like Elton John through most of the movie.
100%.
There's a Freddie Mercury lookalike that gets his ass beat in the movie.
Yeah.
There's Bruno Mars lookalike that is working for the main bad guy. So it was pretty funny.
Don't forget Elijah Wood.
Oh, and Elijah Wood lookalike. The guy
with the
looks
rat
like
tail.
and his name's Rat Tail in the movie.
Yeah.
His name is Rat Tail.
Yep.
That's what they call him in the credits because he doesn't have a name. Almost nobody in this film actually has a name except for John Liu, and he goes by John Liu. And it's like I can't remember anybody's name. Like the bad guy in the movie goes by the name Plutonium Killer. We're never actually told his name. The guy looks like Elton John through most of the movie. So he becomes the New York Ninja. The assumption is that he's Asian. He knows Taekwondo. He becomes a ninja and starts fighting crime. It's pretty funny overall how he fights crime because he just randomly shows up at every crime that's happening, and there happens to be a film camera at every crime as well.
Yeah. So it brought up Ninja Turtles. Mm-hmm. Kind of took from this movie, I think.
It seems like it, but they wouldn't have seen it at that point because it was a lost film.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have seen it.
But it's like
but
the same movie.
Fits. Yeah, it fits because there's a reporter.
Yeah.
There's a ninja, and he's fighting random crime through these street gangs like the Foot Clan. So yeah, it fits. Yeah. It's kind of like Ninja 100%. Turtles, except it's made in 1984 technically. So yeah, the Ninja Turtles comparison is very apt. But New York Ninja just kind of shows up where crimes are being committed. There's no explanation of how he figures this out. Some of them are like he's part of like a TV station, I guess. It's never made super clear.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
But he's a sound man for a cameraman. And his friend's a reporter and a cameraman.
Which is weird because sound man.
Yeah, the sound man in a movie that lost all of its sound, basically.
Worst sound man ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But Vinegar Syndrome found this movie and just knew they had something special, and they really did. They have, there's a lot of movies made in the 80s are just terrible, and then there's a few gems out there in the rough. And I gotta say, this is probably one of those gems.
Yeah.
It's certainly, it's not good. It is good and it's not good. It's one of those movies that you can sit and watch. We had a very entertaining time watching it, kind of just bullshitting through the whole movie. And it's not a bad movie. It's well shot. You commented on the cinematography a lot, that it's pretty well shot.
Yeah.
I mean,
except for the up shots coming down.
The B-rolls.
Yeah,
the B-rolls are bad because their cameraman on the B-rolls is like
shaky. Other than that, everything else is shot well.
I'm not gonna say I'm the best cameraman. Half the videos I posted, I'm out of frame.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna down this guy, but certainly it jumps like this.
Yeah.
In the B-roll, like when they're scanning across the New York skyline with the Twin Towers, it's kind of like.
Yeah, and then they have to zoom in. And the zoom's a little weird on it.
No,
and then the graininess on the.
Yeah. There's some lighting issues as well, because you can tell in some parts of it that they shot at one time of day, and then they had to shoot it a couple times, and then it goes from broad daylight to closer to dusk in one scene. That particular scene with Switchblade and Bruno Mars, and it's like you could clearly tell that it's like they started filming this in the mid-afternoon and didn't finish it till about 5 o'clock, probably, where the light started leaving them. It's really, and it doesn't detract from the scene, but it's very noticeable.
They did have a pretty good shot though, where you can tell that he jumped off.
Yeah, there's a reverse shot.
There's a reverse shot, and then there's a reverse shot.
Yeah,
but it was
he's jumping back
time.
up. Yeah, he's jumping back up. It's really funny.
Made it look like he jumped really high.
Yeah, just some
camera. Was well done though.
Yeah, all of it's well done.
Yeah,
all the movie's actually very well done. It's the dialogue, which the funny thing is like a lot of time the dialogue matches the mouth, but there's some scenes where you can't see the mouth. So the guys, I'm guessing they didn't have a script when they were redoing it, because there was like a dialogue writer for this movie from Vinegar Syndrome, which he had to come up with certain audio where you couldn't see the character's mouth, so he had to kind of work the audio in, or the dialogue in, where it would fit the scene. I thought he did great, and the dialogue's absolutely ridiculous in spots, and the mouth tracking is not great all the time. It somewhat looks like a Japanese film that they dubbed.
It worked though.
Yeah, it worked. Everything works in this movie. And the funny thing is, we got the menu up here on the screen, and it's John Liu playing with the samurai swords. He uses those swords twice in this movie, and I was expecting him like to really use those swords quite a bit. His tanto and his samurai sword, which the tanto comes in a fight against spoilers. I'm going to spoil some stuff in a fight against Elijah Wood, like fake Elijah Wood, Rat Tail. So that comes in where fake Elijah Wood, the driver for Plutonium Killer, is fencing basically. He has two what are the swords? They're the ones like Ramirez carried in Highlander. That sword. So it's like a Spanish conquistador sword.
But
a very thin blade.
That's where the fencing mask came from.
And you had run into the bathroom at that point, but at some point in that fight, he's got one sword and he hits his hand and all of a sudden splits him into two. You didn't see that part. He splits him into two. It was very interesting. Like he splits into two swords. It's kind of like Princess Bride when he's like, I'm actually right-handed, or left-handed, whatever he said, in the movie. So, or I'm not left-handed, So it's kind of like that, where all of a sudden he's got two swords, and then John Liu's got his tanto in this fight, and he's got a samurai sword and fighting him. But yeah, overall the choreography is actually really well done. It's slow, but it's more realistic than some of the sped up choreography you're going to see. He kicks a lot of ass in this movie of the same people over and over again, let's be honest. And then there's like this kid in the movie that he befriends, and there's a cop that he befriends, but the cop doesn't know he's New York Ninja. And all these kids all of a sudden have all these shirts that say I love New York Ninja. Like, I guess they were just making shirts for this. Yeah. But no, overall the movie's a lot of fun. It's a very interesting thing, and it's good for cinema. I mean, even the worst movies should be preserved, and it's like just because a movie's bad doesn't mean somebody didn't put their heart into it. You know, even bad movies, like this is not a bad movie. I'm not gonna say it's a bad movie. It's not a great movie, but it's entertaining. And that's the key. And just the story behind this honestly makes it more entertaining, to be honest. How Vinegar Syndrome worked to restore this thing.
Yeah, and props to Vinegar.
Yeah.
For putting this together.
Yeah,
they did a great job with the audio. Yeah. Just the voiceover.
Yeah, they had to redo everything.
It was great.
They had to Foley everything.
The music was fun.
The music is actually good.
The music is so much fun. It works. Yeah, the audio, even though you're like, oh, okay, I'm kind of watching a foreign film, but it's in New York.
Yeah.
It worked. They did a great job remastering.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they deserve all the props, and I hope they sell lots of copies. I mean, they limit their copies, which my copy arrived damaged, so he's actually going to have a copy because they told me to just keep it and send me a new copy because my case was completely destroyed by the mail. So he's got a copy, I got a copy. I think there's still copies available on vinegarsyndrome.com, so go check that out. Black Friday sale's coming up. I want to check that out too. Not a sponsor, although they can be. Yes, 33 subscribers, Vinegar Syndrome. Feel free to sponsor us. Woo, 33 people. Oh,
go nuts on your movies.
Yeah, we forgot our prop here.
What
I'm going to
prop?
let you talk about the prop because it's hilarious.
This is what I keep here all the time.
Yeah, he wears the prop.
Yes. Best scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You'll never see it ever again.
No.
A ninja on roller skates.
With no explanation for it.
Just came out of nowhere and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
He's
on roller skates.
So much fun. This movie, yeah, it was so much fun. It was entertaining.
It's too much fun.
Yeah.
Really. It's amazing.
That was a little out of left field, but
yeah, didn't expect it.
It worked.
Yeah, the roller skate scene is really funny as well because there's one point where he flips over a car and clearly he's not wearing roller skates when he lands, and then they're back on in the next scene, so it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, New York Ninja, definitely worth checking out, no matter how you get it. Just
Watch it.
Yeah.
Watch it with some buddies or girlfriends. Yeah.
Our wives would have hated it.
Wives would have hated it.
Yeah. They like Clue, though. Watch our Clue review from Halloween. It's fantastic. It's really good. But yeah, New York Ninja, definitely check it out. I am going to rate this film, but I'm going to do 2 ratings. I'm going to give it an actual film rating, and I'm going to give it a fun rating because it deserves 2 different ratings. Because this is not your classic film. This is not like one going for Oscars. It's not. It's just not. So for film rating, I'm actually going to rate it fairly high. I think I'm going to give it 2.5 stars because it's a competent movie. It really is. It's competent. And Vinegar Syndrome, what they did, made it even more competent.
Yeah.
For fun rating, though, it is getting a 5-star because this is a fun freaking movie. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see what they did. Read the backstory first, then watch this movie because it deserves that 5. On to you.
I'm in 100% agreement. 255.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's what it is.
It's so much fun. Yeah.
I mean, if you average those 2 scores, it's like a 4.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's better than a lot of the hokey 80s movies that had one director with audio.
Yeah, there's some real bad movies out there. And like I said, though, even if a movie's bad, it doesn't mean somebody didn't put their heart into it. And that's the thing. This movie has a lot of heart. You can tell John Liu really wanted to make a good movie.
It looks great though.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if John Liu's alive, dead. I don't know where he is. I hope he's alive and he's seeing that people are seeing this movie and respecting this. But kind of like Miami Connection. When it came down to, I can't remember the guy in Miami Connection, but that guy made that movie out of love. He wanted to make that movie, and it's ultimately not. It's crazy. It's weird. But Miami Connection is kind of on the same scale as New York Ninja. It's very similar in that it's not great as a movie. It's not like going for Oscars or anything, but it's actually a lot of fun ultimately. And I love Miami Connection, absolutely. And this one's going right up there with Miami Connection on my list of cult films. This is an absolute instant cult classic.
So much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
You got anything else?
No, I mean, I think that we covered everything.
Yeah, I think you should roller skate into our next review. Woo! Look at them roller skates.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
We'll see you next time on
the
Basement
devil.
Movie Room with another review.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Cheers.